Hi everyone, welcome back to Things Lucy Reads. I'm Luce and this is my July wrap-up. So the first books that I got in the month of July are the first 3 volumes of Lumberjanes by Noelle Stevenson and Shannon Waters. And they are Volume 1, Beware the Kitten Holy, Volume 2, Friendship to the Max, and Volume 3, A Terrible Plan. And I've already read these, so I will put a link to the wrap-up where I talk about them up above there. The next 2 books I picked up from my library for 20 cents from the discarded rack, but they are actually not discarded from the library. They are brand new from the bookshop that closed down a couple of years ago. The first one is The Storyteller's Daughter by Cameron Doki, which is a fairy tale retelling of The 1001 Nights, I believe. And then I also picked up Feminist Fables by Suniti Namjoshi, which is also fairy tale retellings, but with a feminist tilt to them, and not only fairy tales but also Greek and Sanskrit mythology is included in this, so that sounds really cool. The next 2 books I picked up from Booktopia because they were pretty cheap. The first one is Deafness and Chloe by Longer, which I've actually wanted to read ever since I heard Lily from Lilypad talk about it on her channel. I haven't got to it yet, but I'm going to soon. And I also picked up Life in Outer Space by Melissa Keel. She also wrote The Adventures of Cinnamon Girl or something. This is an Australian YA book, and I picked it up because it was included in a list of like Queer Oz YA, but it's not the main characters that are queer. The main character, Sam, has a gay best friend, which is fine, but yeah, not what I would actually call a queer book. The next book is a queer book, however, and that is Antidarkened by Kirsten White, which was available on release day at one of our local department stores, which was shocking. So I picked that one up and I'm really excited to get to it. I really, really love this cover. It looks like a photo, but it's actually a painting, which is amazing. And then the next book I picked up just at Lifeline for $1, and it is The Magicians of Caprona by Diana Wynne Jones. Which is part of the Crestomancy series. I want to read more Diana Wynne Jones because I really liked Howl's Moving Castle, so yeah. And then the next book I picked up, this was kind of annoying actually, because of The Force Awakens. Our local department store, Big W, has been getting all of the new Star Wars books, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting for them to get this one, and then I was like, fuck it, they're not going to get it. Because they didn't get Lost Stars. So I'm just going to buy it on Booktopia for $25, you know, that's not too bad, and then I will have it. And then 2 days after I bought it, after my order had already been shipped, it was in Big W for $16, and I'm just so mad right now. But the book is Bloodline by Claudia Gray, which is all about Princess Leia. That's all I need to know. And I'm just really excited to get to this one. On Twitter, I was like whinging about how I had to read all of these other books before I could read Bloodline, and I've had this for 2 months now and I still haven't read it. Story of my life, really. I also picked up Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, which is, I don't think it's a dystopia, but it's set in the future, and it's about burning books. Anyway, yeah, it just sounds really cool. So these next 2 books are entirely the fault of Josh at the Madhouse. Because he was talking about this first one here and made it sound just really, really cool. The books are Corydon and the Island of Monsters and Corydon and the Siege of Troy, and these are the first and third in a trilogy. The author is called Tobias Druitt, but it's actually 11-year-old genius and his mother writing these, which is kind of intimidating, actually. I mean, geez, I'm 23, what have I done with my life? I might link the video where Josh talks about it up here because he just articulated it so much better than I could because I haven't read these yet. I just made them sound really, really good. And both of these were only $2.95 on Booktopia, so that's enough reason for me. The next 2 books I got from my friend Chara, who runs Books for a Delicate Eternity. The first one I have is The Sin Eater's Daughter by Melinda Salisbury, which is just so pretty in real life. Like, it looks pretty, but it's actually like got this metallic sheen, and it's just so beautiful. It's about a girl who can kill people with a touch, vaguely like Shatter Me, but she said it's nothing like Shatter Me at all. So anyway, it's more like a fantasy than Shatter Me was. Anyway, I'm down. And then the other book that she sent me is Lexicon by Max Barry, which has been doing the rounds on BookTube, but I want to read this because it's set in my hometown. Broken Hill is my hometown, so I want to read it to see if he gets it right. And actually, for years I've been like, how can this book be set in my hometown? But I've never heard of it. But actually, now that I think about it, I think that this guy did come here. There was something in the paper about this guy that was writing a novel about Broken Hill something. I didn't pay a lot of attention actually, but actually I think this was the one. So yeah, it's like some kind of spy psychological thriller thing. And then the next book I picked up also on Booktopia because it went out really cheap for $7.95, and that is Star Wars The Force Awakens, A Galaxy of Colouring, which is not an adult colouring book, it's just a colouring book for Star Wars, but this one has all pictures of Poe and Finn and Rey in it. See, Poe and X-Wings. What more could you need? I've actually done a couple of pages of this already because I had a Star Wars audiobook, so I coloured in my Star Wars colouring book while I listened. So I've done this page, which is a bunch of Stormtrooper and Snowtrooper and Flametrooper helmets in a rainbow, because why not? And there's little metallic stars in between them that you can't see. And then I've also done this page, which is just not finished yet, but it's Kylo Ren's lightsaber. So yeah, so that's really cool. I love Star Wars. I know, what a shock. Next 4 books I picked up on a weekend trip that I took with my work friend to Mildura. The first 2 I got at the secondhand bookshop there, and the first one is A Hatful of Sky by Terry Pratchett, which is brand new. So this is the last one that I needed out of the Tiffany Aching Discworld sequence, except for The Shepherd's Crown, I think, but that's not out in paperback yet. So yes, I'm excited to finally read this part of Discworld. And then the second book I got there was out for $2.20, so that was a steal. And it is Us by David Nichols. I started for 10 and really enjoyed it, and then I read One Day. Actually, no, I did it the other way around. I read One Day first. Anyway, I really, really liked One Day. It's one of my favourite books of all time, and I love the movie as well. And I've been kind of wanting to pick this up, but I wasn't sure if I would like it. But since it was out for $2.20, I thought, why not? I might as well have all of the books that he's written, since this is the only one I'm missing. And I think also my mum might like it as well. And then the next book that I got is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson, which I picked up in the Big W in Mildura. I hate this cover, actually. I really like the American hardcover version, but I don't want this book in hardcover because it's expensive, and I don't really like hardcovers all that much. And also, when they released it in paperback, it doesn't have the cover of the hardback, like actually on the cover. There's like this flap, and then the other one's underneath it, I think. But whenever I see that paperback, it looks like an ARC to me, and I'm like, I don't want to buy a finished copy that looks like an ARC, you know? It just doesn't look right. So yeah, I caved and picked up the UK version. Actually, what kind of clinched this for me was Chara telling me that there are illustrations, and there's all these like little brush strokey, those are hearts, but the others are just like strokes on the page. So that's really cool, and I've heard good things about this book, so I might as well give it a shot. And then the last book I picked up I'm super excited about. I've been waiting for months, and it is Aftermath Life Debt by Chuck Wendig, which is a Star Wars novel, in case you couldn't tell that. I picked this up on release day in Target for $27 when I was in Mildura, and then it appeared in the Big W catalogue for $16. Story of my life. Anyway, I had it on release day, and I read it straight away, and I loved it. It's really good. It will be in a wrap-up at some point, and I will link that up there as well. I just have so much love for this trilogy, and I need to get more of Chuck Wendig's books because I think he's a really good writer. So yes, I'm just so sad now that I have to wait even more months for the 3rd book in this trilogy, but what can you do, you know? Nothing. Okay, so those are all of the books that I got this month. Let me know if you've read any of them and what you thought, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.